ahead of the SpaceX IPO, which is happening a lot faster than most people would have expected. Some very compelling insights from Eric Jorgensen speaking to David Cerner. Trust me, you're going to want to hear this.
This is how Elon thinks about money. And this I've never heard anywhere else. In early SpaceX, I told the team everything we did was a function of our burn rate. We were burning through $100,000 per day. In the same way, I expected the revenue in 10 years to be $10 million a day. Every day we were slower to achieve our goals was a day of missing out on that revenue. So there's a story in the Ashley Vance book where they're like, I don't get Elon. It's like, I just went to him and tried to get him to spend, $25,000 on a part. He said no, because he thinks I could build it for $2,000 because the idiot index, that part should be $2,000 to figure out how to do it. Yet he just let us use his jet and burn $60,000 of jet fuel to get a part to Hawaii that would save us a workday.
Yeah.
And so that makes perfect sense if you spend 60 grand, because that day 10 years from now is 10 million.
And you unlock an entire team and all the infrastructure value. So a thing that's underrated about Elon, in my view, is like this hyper fluency across domains. Like this is a simple example, but he studied both physics and economics as an undergraduate. He has been like running his business and functionally being head of product at all of his companies. It's an extremely wide, like multivariate set of trade-offs that he's looking at. And he deeply understands, to your point, the zoomed out view of opportunity cost and compounding. So thinking about where a business could be in 10 years, where the bottleneck is today, what the burn rate is of all the money and equipment and time and attention, and what gets unlocked, not just today, but the potential future value of that is really, really interesting. And that's I think a powerful source of the maniacal urgency is because he's like hair on fire all the time. It's like there's billions of dollars at stake every single hour of the day. Like we can be working with such greater intensity, and the rewards for doing it go up every time we are able to move faster.
I love this so much. This perspective, this vision for the future, the urgency of not wasting a single day and missing out on that future revenue. The example they gave early, at the time, the team is burning $100,000 per day. Musk expecting 10 years from now, the company is going to be doing $10 million in revenue per day. Every single day wasted in achieving that later outcome is $10 million lost. The example of Musk pushing back on the idea of spending $25,000 on a part that he believed that they could build internally for $2,000, yet at the same time, burning $60,000 of jet fuel to fly a part to save a workday. The reason that $60,000 investment was worth $10 million, bringing that future one day closer. Viewing every decision through this lens, opportunity cost, factoring in compounding, bringing the future forward. This is why Musk companies continue to move with an extreme sense of urgency. This is why the Terafab project has just been announced. Musk has looked into the future, seen a massive bottleneck with chips, sourcing power, and getting approvals moving forward on Earth. Therefore, the only logical decision, we're going to have to do space-based AI. In order to do that, we'll have to IPO SpaceX to raise a fuck ton of capital to get this project moving. Go, go, go. Hence the SpaceX IPO, hence the announcement of Terafab, hence this stuff moving forward at lightning speed. Now, just a quick anecdote. I found this quite an interesting concept. I'll tell you guys a story. Years ago in my 20s, I mean, well over a decade, maybe 15, closer to 20 years ago, I'm on a lunch break, back when I had a job. God, makes me shudder just thinking about being someone else's bitch. So, getting some fresh air, walking through the business district, a couple of people out there hassling folks, please donate to our charity. A guy approaches me, the short story is he wants me to donate. Now I explained to him then and there, bro, every dollar I give you today, I'm going to turn into at least $1,000 in the future, so no. He had the most puzzled look on his face. No comprehension of what I was getting at. To be clear, however, I have lightened up in my old age, unlike Musk, who's still running around hair on fire all the time. I've now built the compounding machine. The sacrifices have been made. Thank you, past Stephen. Always appreciative. But Musk is built different. The bro is still acting like this, thinking like this, making every decision through this lens. This is why he continues to win. Another clip from the podcast explaining exactly how different this guy really is built.
Elon has a great way of saying this. He says, my way of dealing with mental problems is to make sure you really care about what you're doing and take the pain.
Yeah. I think it's so funny that the most productive person on earth does zero of the like meditation, journaling, morning routine. Like he wakes up and picks up his phone and goes to war like every day. Like that's his routine.
Goes to war.
Yeah.
There may never have been such a driven individual. Many people who've known Musk now for multiple decades who worked with him previously in the early ex-PayPal days have commented they just do not understand how he is still working as borderline psychopathically and intensely all these decades later. How he doesn't burn out, have a mental breakdown, nobody knows. Once again, starts to make sense why Musk just keeps on winning. Speaking of winning, this time a big one for potential retail investors. I saw this on X. Allegedly, Elon Musk is planning an unprecedented move for retail investors in the SpaceX IPO, considering allocating up to 30% of SpaceX's IPO to retail investors, which is far above the typical 5 to 10% allocation. Under this plan, Elon Musk looks to tap loyal fans in the upcoming IPO, which could exceed $1.75 trillion in valuation. The plan includes a hands-on approach to banks, assigning firms specific roles rather than broad competition. Bank of America is expected to lead US retail distribution alongside firms like Morgan Stanley and UPS. The biggest IPO in history is prioritizing retail. Now listen up, folks. Here's how to not get fucked over in the SpaceX IPO. I've asked a SpaceX product, Grok, to explain exactly what this means, especially for the international audience, which is more than half of you watching. This gives more retail investors a shot at buying directly at the IPO price. This is really important. This avoids a potential shit show at the time of IPO, with crazy buying, people grabbing at the stock hand over fist, potential pump and dump, the stock surging. If you're able to secure an allocation in the SpaceX IPO, you pay a predetermined price at that time for your allocated shares, avoiding the risk of getting severely fucked over. Now, to be clear, it's not open to every retail investor worldwide. Access is limited. So, Grok says, will international retail investors receive an allocation through their brokerage? Response: possibly, but not automatically or equally. US investors have the highest chance. Regarding Europe and Australasia, might be a little patchy and often limited to specific clients or brokers. So high net worth individuals internationally might be able to use UBS. Typical retail, maybe one of Citi's regional partners like Barclays in the US, Deutsche Bank in Germany, global platforms like Interactive Brokers. It adds that local brokerages like CommSec and Stake in Australia, Nagiro and Trading 212 in Europe likely won't have direct allocation unless they partner with a syndicate. Grok says you'd have to check and ask them, and I will add, I think that everyone who's an international investor should call their brokerage, email their brokerage and say, listen, I really would like an allocation in the SpaceX IPO. Please confirm that that will happen. If not, I will take my business elsewhere, including my existing holdings. I mean this, by the way. You've got to put pressure on and get confirmation that they want a piece of this. They'll have an allocation and you'll be able to buy in. The time to sort this shit out is before it's too late. Grok confirms that the allocation is at a fixed price. Now, we don't know what that's going to be. We also don't know where SpaceX will close after its IPO. But the goal here will be to have a predetermined price, allocate shares, and you know ahead of time I'm buying X amount of shares at X market cap, BG price per share, removing a great deal of uncertainty. I also asked Grok to explain how this works mechanically. So pre-IPO, SpaceX files a prospectus, banks run a roadshow, and again, you, as in everyone listening, monitor the news, contact your broker to express an indication of interest. Tell them how much you want to invest. Then, pricing day. The bank set the fixed offering price based on demand, which I have a suspicion might be rather off the charts. And a 30% allocation, just to do the real simple math here, let's say it was only a 1.5 trillion, that's $500 million allocated to retail investors. That's a lot of fucking cash. So allocation happens, brokers get a pool of shares, as in your brokerage, if they partner, if they're in, gets a pool of shares, and then divide them among clients, which is often scaled down and pro rata. For smaller orders, it's a bit of a lottery, and often is prioritized by relationship size, e.g. size of portfolio or the transaction, and loyalty. Hot IPOs like this get oversubscribed, so many get 0% partial or tiny amounts. So for those of you, for example, who happen to have a reasonable portfolio of Tesla stock, this is an opportunity for you to swing your dick around a little bit with your brokerage and say, listen, bruh, I've been good to you. Now it's your turn to be good to me. Or I can just find another broker. On to settlement and listing, if allocated, e.g. if you're given an allocation of SpaceX shares. The shares hit your account at the fixed price. Then trading opens the next day on the NASDAQ. And if you don't get an allocation, you have no choice but to buy on the open market, which may result in you getting gently or quite aggressively fucked depending on what the stock does on IPO day. Grok adds that demand will be massive from Musk fans, so even with 30% to retail, small orders get rationed heavily. Now, some examples. Person A has $1,000 to invest, person B $10,000, and person C with $100,000. They all want to buy SpaceX stock. Assume they all use an eligible participating brokerage and express interest early, which is the best way to buy as soon as possible at the IPO price. Person A requests 5 shares, assuming a $200 per share price. So they want to invest the full $1,000 and get 5 shares. Small account with a small order means the lowest odds of success, and they're likely to get 0 shares or a tiny lottery. Maybe get 1 to 2 shares. If this is you, it's still worth a shot, just don't get your hopes up. Person B has $10,000 to invest, 50 shares requested. Better odds, but still only a partial chance. Maybe they get 20, 30 shares if they're lucky. If they're international, obviously depends heavily on whether or not they've got a partner who even has access to the shares and the allocation in the first place. Person C, $100,000 or 500 shares, a larger account with the highest chance of a meaningful allocation. Might get 200 to 400 shares, maybe even better. Relationship and history with the bank helps. Still not 100% full due to overall demand, but far better positioned. If you want SpaceX stock, this is what you need to do. Immediately call or email your brokerage and ask, will they have an allocation of SpaceX stock? They may reply, I don't know, at which point you respond, not good enough, I need to know, otherwise I'm taking my business elsewhere, at which point they panic and go, oh shit, I don't want to lose a client here, let me find out. They'll probably tell you to call back in a few weeks, which is fine. Call back in a few weeks and ask the same question again and again and again until you have confirmation, written confirmation. Do not let them just tell you, get it in writing, that they will have an allocation. Then ask how much you'll be entitled to. Tell them how much you want. And the bigger your account in terms of dollar value, the longer you've been a customer, especially if you happen to hit some of those milestones or thresholds, like you've been with them for 5 years or your portfolio is over 100,000 or over $1 million, whatever it is, swing your weight around and aim to get confirmation. How much can they allocate to you? If they're not going to have any SpaceX shares, find a brokerage in your country who will. There is one big benefit to making the call or sending the email now. Even though SpaceX is not far enough along yet, maybe they will be in a week or so, with this process for the brokerage to know for sure. If they keep getting calls from people who keep asking, will you have some SpaceX stock allocated for retail investors ahead of the IPO? If they start getting enough of these questions, this will eventually climb up the ladder to the point where they start going, hey guys, all of these retail investors keep saying, are we going to have some SpaceX stock and are threatening to leave if we don't? We should probably make sure that we have a little bit of SpaceX stock to allocate to these retail investors. So get onto it. Want more content? Early access? Bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 has been part of my daily health protocol for almost half a decade. It's packed full of vitamins and minerals and helps me fill in nutritional gaps while supporting energy, digestion, and immune function. It also has prebiotics and probiotics to promote gut health. I take my health very seriously, and so should you. Try AG1 today by visiting drinkag1.com/SMR or click the link in the pinned comment and enjoy a free welcome kit with vitamin D3 plus K2 and AG1 travel packs. That's drinkag1.com/SMR.